Okay, so hello. I am going to show you an experiment on emulsions. This is an experiment that we would have done normally in school in class with you, but obviously you haven't got the equipment that you require at home to do that. First of all, I would have shown you a jam jar. In this jam jar is water and oil. All right, if you have a look at it, all right, carefully, you can see that the oil is a lighter liquid and therefore it floats on the top. All right, if I shake this, what you will see is that temporarily I managed to mix the oil and water together. That's called a colloidal suspension. With time, the two will settle and the two layers will form again, with the oil again on the top and the water on the bottom. In cooking, we use a lot of ingredients that are oil and water based, and obviously what we need to do is we need to get those two components to combine. So you can see now, gradually, you can see the water again is at the bottom and the oil layer is coming to the top. So an emulsion is when we manage to get those two layers to combine permanently. So we're going to move on to the experiment. I'll leave that at the side so you can still see it. Alright, if you have a look in the test tube in the front, you will see that I have got 4 test tubes. In the test tubes, what I have done, alright, is I have put a teaspoon of vinegar and a teaspoon of vegetable oil. The vinegar is the water layer, so just exactly the same as the jam jar, all right, the water layer, the vinegar has settled on the bottom. And again, just like the jam jar, the oil has settled on the top. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add different ingredients to see if I can get these two layers to permanently mix. So in test tube 1, I'm going to leave this as the control. You should know from other experiments and investigations that we've done in class, this is how it would naturally occur. In test tube 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some egg yolk. So at the side here now, all right, I've got 2 plates, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the egg into its yolk and its white components. So I'm just with a fork just going to beat the yolk just to make sure that the outer membrane has burst, so it's a little bit easier for me to get inside the test tube. Now, in then test tube 2, I am going to put a teaspoon of egg yolk. So I'm going to collect that egg yolk on the teaspoon, I'm going to bring test tube 2 over, and I'm going to pour the egg yolk into it. Now, to get those two to mix, what I'm going to do is I'm then going to put my thumb on the end of the test tube and I'm going to give it a shake just exactly the same as I did with the jam jar. Alright, now remember with the jam jar, what happened is we saw the 2 layers afterwards separate. So we're looking to see if that happens with the egg yolk. In test tube 3, all right, what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a teaspoon of egg white. So because this is a very fresh egg, and we'll have a look at this in another video, I'm actually struggling to get egg white because there's an awful lot of what is called thick white, right, which is very difficult to break up. There we go. Exactly the same. Then I'm going to put my thumb on one end and I'm going to shake it. Again, what we're looking to see is we're looking to see whether or not that egg white allows those 2 layers to mix together. Now, in the final test tube 4, I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of mustard powder. and exactly the same again, thumb over the top, and to give that test tube a good shake. Okay, now if we have a look then at the test tubes, all right, we can start to see the results coming through. All right, so you can see with test tube 1 there are distinct layers still of the oil and the vinegar, the oil and the water layer. All right, those two, like the actual jam jar, all right, those have not mixed together. If we have a look at test tube 2, you can see where we added egg yolk, all right, that now we haven't got that distinct layering, all right, and actually what we have got there is we've got that the two layers have combined, all right, because the oil and water layers have combined, that is now referred to as an emulsion. In test tube 3, all right, you will see, all right, there is a very dark shade at the bottom of the vinegar. All right, so when we've added egg white, all right, the two layers have only temporarily mixed, and then like test tube 1 have separated back into their oil and water layers. All right, so again, then not creating an emulsion. With test tube 4, you will see with the mustard, again, all right, there's no distinct layers. All right, you can see here that again, this has now created an emulsion and the oil and the water layers have mixed together. What can we learn from this? All right, well, what we can learn from this is that both mustard and egg yolk are natural emulsifying agents. These are sometimes referred to as matchmakers. All right, because just the same as boyfriends and girlfriends, what they do is they bring the two separate components of the oil and the water layers together. Inside egg yolk there is a substance called lecithin. Lecithin is the emulsifying agent that causes this to happen. Now, we see this a lot in cooking. All right, so our next video that you're going to watch is us making mayonnaise. Mayonnaise has in it both egg yolks and mustard, all right, which then make the two water and oil layers combine together. Thank you very much.